Hello and welcome to the Gaia update for the September Equinox 2019. This equinox happens on early in the morning in the US on September 23rd, 2019. So most of the world, it's on Monday the 23rd. And this equinox is very potent and powerful. We've been leading up to this energy because for this equinox we have our third and final Jupiter square Neptune. Now these planets are the epitome of the 2019 astrology that we're still trying to figure out what in the heck that might mean. These planets came together in January and then again in June. Now in these times when they came together, they were together for an extended period of time, a week or two. Now these planets are kind of ships passing in the night. For this third and final square, they're only together for a couple of days, and that happens to fall right on the equinox. So this equinox is a turning of the corner as we complete this 2019 astrology and maybe get a little bit of a clue about what this has been about. Jupiter is at home in Sagittarius, very powerful energy for this whole year. But now that Jupiter's direct, it is racing to the finish line, racing to come up with its conjunction with the galactic center, which will happen in November. And then December, it moves into the sign of Capricorn, joining Saturn and Pluto and being a major player in this 2020 astrology. So it's almost like this Jupiter in Sagittarius is a preparation for this time that we're coming into. And Jupiter at home in Sagittarius, very powerful energies around claiming back our essential truth as spiritual beings, as spiritual seekers. Sagittarius is like looking out at the horizon, shooting afar the ideas, far beyond what we already know, expanding consciousness and expanding knowledge. And now in square to Neptune, home in Pisces. So a lot of messages right now around coming home to this planet, arriving, being here, being present, saying yes to this experience so that we can complete it, and get going on the next things, right? We have been so stuck for thousands of years. As a light worker soul, you've come to this planet pushing for the spiritual evolution. You can't wait to be a part of it and to hold space for this beautiful experience, and yet it has been thwarted at every turn. So personally, these issues that you've come up against, this control energies, this thwarting, this targeting, this, it's a picture of like being in the sandbox and building this beautiful castle, and then somebody coming along and ruining it yet again, right? And this Jupiter in Sagittarius is a huge activation of like, wait, where is that big piece of myself that knows there's something bigger, is working for something way, way beyond what this narrow confines of this reality have told us is reality? And where is that part of me? Where was it lost, And it's lost in these personality constructs from these past lives that didn't go our way. And we became stuck in these paradigms of failure and loss and low self-worth as a soul, as we just kind of trying to make it through this earth evolution, completely pulled off our true path again and again. And this time right now feels like what we're being shown is, or the energy that's kind of floating around is kind of like, yeah, it's too late, you messed up, it's never going to work, give it up, forget about it, But Jupiter in Sagittarius says, no, this is the essential part of who you are, and how can you go forward without this? We've been living in a fractured state, partially incarnated, and it's time to arrive home. And a lot of that has to do with identifying, and we get caught up in this material world and our conditional reality, and we get caught up in thinking that our mission and our purpose, this energy of having a life of meaning is something very specific. Once I figure out my project, once I figure out what I'm here to do, I'll be fine. I'll just go and I'll move forward and do it. But it's not so simple. First of all, we've been way brainwashed away from it. And second of all, our mission changes, you know? And so we don't really know what our mission is, but some part of us knows. And so we have to, in a very detached way, be willing to integrate these parts of ourselves, put ourselves back together so that we can claim back this life of meaning and purpose. Now, that's Jupiter in Sagittarius. It's in square to this Neptune in home in Pisces. And Neptune is so expansive, this energy as a ruler of Pisces in Pisces. It has to do with a collective consciousness and experience of spirituality. Now, this experience of spirituality, this religious type of feeling, this was used to control us in the Dark Ages, in the Piscean age. And because when you move into that energy, you can easily be infected with fears of the lower astral plane, right? Pisces energy is really speaking about the expansive oneness consciousness that we're all a part of, and it's just there. There's no judgment on it. But you go a little bit step towards, into the what's in between us and that bigger consciousness, and you're going to find those lower astral realms, and then where our consciousness and our personalities and our attitudes and our whole energies can be programmed with fear and confusion around what's true and what's not true. And this has been so intense in the Piscean age to the point where we are starting, definitely the energies of that's hard to watch sometimes is how we thought we're having a spiritual evolution and revolution, and a lot of people are going back to sleep, not in touch with their heart, judgmental and criticism, everywhere, and just lower vibrational feelings about being better than other people. And this is totally the opposite direction of what our spiritual evolution should go. We think, really, seems like it, right? This is this place we've been in is like so much confusion planted in our subconscious around our spiritual reality that we just turn away and walk away from it because we can't trust it, we can't find it. Now, this is this massive activation with the Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is the knowledge, the learning, the widening of ideas and concepts and inspiration, creativity, and then an experience of the spirit in concepts and in expansive experiences. Then Neptune in Pisces is experience of the spirit in this expansive one wholeness, just being with it, in that oneness principle and those spiritual feelings. So this is a really cool, there's tension here because it is a square, right? And squares are like, it's 90 degrees. There's nowhere, you can't go forward. You've got to turn the corner, right? And that's what this equinox is really about, is about turning this corner out of the play of the mind, the programming, the psychological distortions, and getting real clear, even though we don't know specific, but getting real clear inside of ourselves what really matters to us, and what makes us feel alive and what really living is. We've been, the agenda of the control energies want us completely focused on the material world and our possessions and our accomplishments and who we are to other people. But you don't get to take that stuff with you, so it doesn't have any bearing on our soul spiritual essence. So in effect, this programming is separating us from our soul, because it's telling us that what's important are the things that have nothing to do with who we really are. And it's just created this massive schism, which is common in like very open people to psychic energies. This is what the Piscean age was all about. It was like using those psychic energies to control us and program us rather than connect with that greater whole and that greater truth of who we are and those true spiritual energies, the energy that holds this whole thing together. See, that's the deal, right? We get stuck in this duality, lower psychic battle in our consciousness And we get stuck in the light and the dark forces, right? And the good and the evil, and I'm good and you're bad, and yada, 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 right? But we have to kind of remember and bring ourselves back to this Pisces activation, where recognizing that the bigger wholeness of everything, everything we see and experience is contained in that bigger wholeness. And so can we go there? Can we step out of the psychic battle and go there with our highest hopes and our love, but not maybe outside of agenda? So this is the corner that we are being invited to turn, and again, it's more energies of leaving the past behind, leaving behind these conditionings and things that have kept us in the dark ages, and being willing to grab hold of our truth. And so what's happening, so before this equinox, Saturn turns direct about a little less than a week before this equinox. And Saturn is a very potent message, because Saturn is moving into this conjunction with Pluto in the 2020 astrology, and Jupiter will be moving into Capricorn for this 2020 astrology. And so with Saturn turning direct, it's like, okay, we gotta go forward, and it's time to get down to work. Saturn wants to build something with a good foundation, wants to take it slow and do it right, but still build, wants to move forward. And that's a good energy. We need that right now. But the mountain goat can't really see where he's going, right? He's just got to take step after step and trust he's getting to the top of the mountain, where then he'll be able to have perspective. And maybe that's part of, what this 2020 astrology is trying to do, is get us to the top of the mountain so we can see clearly what's been going on. And the power of Saturn in home, again, another planet, home in Capricorn, around coming home, landing here, dealing with reality of this place, no longer escaping. That's part of the Pisces energy too, and facing reality and doing the work we need to do to get out of here, to move to our next place, because we know that we're dealing with energies way, 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 way lower than where we came from, and just squeezing and material and this manifested world. It's like we're taking this huge spirit and trying to put it into this little tiny body, and we actually have to take that big spirit of who we are and land here, regardless of our physical body. Bring our energy home and own the bigness of who we are. So Saturn turning direct is kind of saying all these things, like we got to get to work, we got to get to reality, we got to just forge ahead, we got to just, keep our eye on the prize, point in the direction we want to go and get to it. Now, but with Saturn, right after it turns direct, it comes into, and it's been getting closer and closer. We've already felt this 3 times. This is the third pass of this transit too, where Saturn comes into its conjunction with the South Node. That means it's opposite the North Node, and the nodes of the moon are our future and past karma. And so Saturn coming up with this conjunction now at the same time that this is going to be happening, just after the equinox, and right during the equinox, we're moving into these energies, and they're kind of going to last to the end of the month, for a whole week. And it's about Mercury and Venus still close together, taking turns in Libra. They move into Libra, and then they're going to be squaring up with the nodes of the moon and Saturn. So Mercury and Venus, powerful activation around integrating our feminine and finding our voice for the smaller part of ourselves, standing up for who we really are. And so that energy in this T-square with the nodes of the past and future karma, and it's kind of like, okay, are you going to, it's kind of like, in order to move forward, you've got to find this voice and be who you really are. And everything is nudging us into this integration, deeper integration of who we really are, so we can find that voice. And maybe it's that voice that allows us to separate from the programming and the conditioning and the agendas of this world, and be able to harmoniously turn this corner. Now, this makes a cardinal T-square. And it's interesting because the first half of September is a mutable T-square. Bam, 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 all these planets doing that mutable T-square. And then the exact of that Jupiter square Neptune on the equinox. And then for the second part of the month, we've got this cardinal T-square. And the cardinal signs are starters and they're beginners. And so that's another energy, like Saturn and Capricorn going forward now is like, okay, we got to get it started. Let's get something started. And that's what this cardinal square is saying. And what we're getting started with Mercury and Venus close together is a new identity, closer to who we really are, where these disenfranchised lower parts of ourselves that we were shamed or cast aside are integrated back in to the wholeness of who we are. And that's really what this equinox is about. It's about finding balance so we can turn this big corner. And of course, that's the deal with corners. You can't see around them, just like the mountain goat can't see what's on top. They can only see what's right in front of them. They can't see what's on top of the mountain. And so by pointing and getting our vibration sorted out so we can point in the direction that we want to go, because we know what it feels like and we care enough about ourselves to care about how we feel, to make sure we're in alignment with the direction we want to go, and then finding this balance, coming together on this equinox in our consciousness and turning that corner together. And that's the deal, though. We don't know what's on the other side of the corner because all we can see is a dead end. And on the other side of the corner, then maybe we'll get some real great insights about what this 2020 astrology means for us specifically, and and maybe having an opportunity to connect with that higher part of ourselves that knows the plan. So this will be a theme, some of the themes coming through, I'm thinking, in this soul group session. So I hope you can join me for an equinox soul group session. This is a group intuitive session. You can get a sense of what my individual sessions are like, where we look at shared past life energies, something that whoever comes to the call and their soul groups, what they've experienced, what there is, the similarities in our past life experiences, and going into those pictures as a way to find clearing and healing that can help us turn this corner. So I hope you'll consider joining me for that Equinox Soul Group session. That's going to be on the 22nd, Sunday the 22nd at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. And the information to sign up for that is below. So really potent and powerful time. There is a lot of psychic energy going on with these shifts. So just be nice to yourself. Let yourself rest and recuperate, because we're doing a huge amount of energetic shifting, rearranging, and assimilating. So we've got to be mindful of that. And when you're tired, let yourself rest. Drink lots of water. It's really helpful. And always being in nature can really help reset. The astral plane, lower astral plane, and the collective energies are really, really busy right now. So if you're a sensitive person, you're going to be feeling that. And it's a situation of like not realizing that you're feeling what all these other people that you don't even know are feeling, and it's not necessarily your own feelings, right? And so if you feel that overwhelmed feeling, do what you need to do, what supports you in clearing your psyche and claiming that autonomy for your own energy and your own agenda, which you don't know what that is, but your higher self might know, but we know it's in alignment with these greater truths. And so we are going to have an opportunity here to get really close in touch and messages in this potent time and connect with that higher part of ourselves, so we can let that and our energetic reset available during this time guide the way into the unknown around the corner, but we'll be in it together. So I look forward to seeing you hopefully at that live the soul group session on the 22nd, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. So until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.